Hello everyone, welcome into another FIFA 23 Tactics video, the series where I show you how to recreate real tactics in game. I'm Ash, or Brommer as always, and today we're taking a look at Christophe Galtier's Paris Saint-Germain tactics. In particular, I want to look at the free back. They've sometimes tinkered with a back four as well, kind of like a narrow midfield diamond, but generally throughout the majority of this season, they've gone with this back three with a little bit of elements of a hybrid in there. So that's one we're going to focus on today. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, ring the bell to get notifications every time I upload. And if you want to see how this tactic ranks compared to all of my other systems, don't forget to check out my Patreon, because on there you can get access to my FIFA 23 tactics package with rankings and ratings and strengths and weaknesses and suitable teams of players for every system that we do cover on the channel, as well as a whole host of other perks like exclusive tactics videos, Discord server access, and a whole lot more. Also, one of my lovely patrons and subscribers, Oofy Red Panda, recently created a subreddit called FIFA Tactics. Great platform on there for everyone to share any of their new tactics, any tips, all that good stuff. So if any of you do have Reddit, please go and check out the subreddit for FIFA Tactics as well. I'll leave a link down below. And also check out my video games podcast. If you want your fix for video games, all things video games that is, check out the links down below. You can get access to that. With that being said, let's talk about this system. A super fun system to play, obviously predominantly because of this front three. It's an absolute joke. It's just a joke that these three are playing together. So fun to get your hands on in FIFA, particularly with this system that's just built around them. And that's what we're going to get into today. So it is a 4-3-3 at its fundamental core. There are elements of a hybrid, as I mentioned earlier. We've been able to get some of them in, but not others, which we'll talk about. First things first with the system then, go for the 3-4-2-1. And what you want is you want Neymar and Messi to actually be left forward and right forward. The first time we've done that this year really works out well, much better than what it would if you had them at Ram and Lamb, because one, they get further forward, two, you get more control over their positioning with regards to the player instructions, and it just seemed to work a whole lot better. Second of all, of course, you might want to make sure these guys in the wide areas are wide midfielders. Again, gives you greater control. Still allows them to create a back five when you are out of possession, providing you have them on comeback on defence. And also, with the central midfielders, you want one, Verratti in this case, as the left defensive midfielder, or the right defensive midfielder, doesn't matter a whole lot. And the other one you want as a central midfielder. In this case, we've got Soler, of course. They've tinkered with a whole range of players, but really what you are looking for is a combination of one of the deep line playmakers, which would be either Verratti or someone like Ruiz, and then one of the more energetic players like Vitinha, Sanchez, or Carlos Soler. He can also maybe play that deep line playmaker role as well. And he's someone who is going to support the attacks a little bit more from those central areas. So that is what you're looking for with him. You're just looking to get him a little bit further forward. And it also allows us to have free roam on his player instructions as well. Also, there is an element where Marquinhos will sometimes step into midfield as an extra defensive midfielder, particularly in the league games where he does get more license to do that. Obviously, we can't do that in FIFA, which is real unfortunate. I tried and thought about all sorts of ways that we could try and get that. Could we have him as a defensive midfielder and have him to drop between defenders on the instructions, but of course only happens when he is in possession. So there are a lot of issues with that, and unfortunately we couldn't quite work that one out. But you can of course kind of drive into midfield with him and then sort of go from there. So let's talk about the tactical instructions then. Defensive style is press after possession loss, giving you that counter pressing system. And then the width is on 40. With this free back, you do have license to spread it out a little bit more, and that is what we do have here. We've also got a team that is, again, lots of pace. There are lots of pace in this team throughout each kind of line of the team, and so as a result you can kind of cover any loose space that you need, and that also plays into the depth as well. With the depth here, we've got it on 80, and that is of course a high line. I didn't notice much of a difference between the league games and the European games. Surprisingly, I thought there might be, but generally they're playing a high block either way. And that's something I kind of picked up on, so that's just something you might want to bear in mind as well. We do have that one on 80. Build-up play offensively then, we have it on slow build-up, allowing you to play through the thirds with this free back as well. Does a really good job of enabling you to do that, particularly with the two central midfielders in there on top of that. And then chance creation is also possession. It's nice because Really, the way the movement is created is from the player instructions that we'll talk about shortly. Generally, it's going to enable you to retain possession more, and it's just a bit more of a calculated and more of a calmer approach, which is something that's quite enjoyable, particularly with the kind of setup of the team. The width is on 30, making it nice and narrow, nice and compact. The reason why we did this at most was because of that front three with regard to the right forward and left forward. We wanted to try and get them closer to Mbappe if possible, and I think doing this, just shrinking it a little bit, did help with that. And then the players in the box is on 8, giving you 4 players in the box. Of course, you're going to have the front three and one of either the wing-backs or the central midfielder getting in there. Finally, with the set pieces, both corners and free kicks, they are on 4. So, moving on to the player instructions. What do we have with Donnarumma in goal? Well, we've got him on comes to crosses, but he's saving outside the box this time on balanced. Not someone who has really generally been seen as that kind of sweeper. He doesn't come out of his goal too much. And as a result, we've only got that one on balance, but we do have someone who is very aggressive when it comes to corners and kind of crosses, and he will kind of utilise his strength and his height and take those situations by force. So we do have him on comes across is there. With the 3 centre-backs, the only change you do need to note is of Ramos changing to aggressive interceptions. Obviously, this is because of a personal thing, more so than the tactic itself. We know what Ramos is like, very, very aggressive with his interceptions, and so we did change that. Of course, if you want to, tweak that, then you can. But again, just a personal preference. With Marquinhos, obviously mentioned, was there a way we could kind of get him to play that hybrid centre defensive midfield role, toyed with the likes of joining the attack, but it just didn't quite work, unfortunately. So we did just keep him as it was. Both of the wing-backs do have the same instructions. We've got Mendes and Hakimi in this case. Sometimes Mukiele plays there as well. We've got Juan Bernat as well. They're both on comeback on defence to get them tracking back, help you form a back 5 when you need to out of possession. Chance creation is stay wide. These are the two who are going to create the width of the pitch. You'll notice, despite the fact that the width was on 30, generally when we are looking to attack, these guys are pretty much on the touchline, and they enable us to switch the ball out wide to them and kind of just switch the play. These guys are who are going to allow you to stretch that game and stretch the width of the pitch, thus then creating that space for the likes of Messi and Neymar to exploit that space and be able to run into and just pick up those little pockets, which is ultra important in this system. Support runs for both of them is on balanced, and the reason why is that they actually didn't kind of penetrate the back line relentlessly, and part of the reasoning for this is because of the fact that obviously you've got that front three that isn't contributing much defensively. So as a result, they don't really want to get caught out that much, and as a result, they're generally kind of mixing between the two. Occasionally, they'll look to kind of run in behind and support those with those penetrating runs, but often they'll look to kind of come short and show for the ball and then do give and goes, which is really what they're looking to do. Support on crosses for the both of them as well is unbalanced. With Verratti at defensive midfield, we've got that kind of like deep line playmaker, that progressor from the deep areas of the ball. Defensive behaviour is on cut passing lanes, and his attacking support is stay back while attacking. His defensive position is cover wing, and his position freedom deep line playmaker, as we say, is going to pick up those pockets and he's going to help to progress and keep play going on from those deeper areas. With the central midfielder, obviously some differing roles here. His attacking support is on balance. We don't want him constantly running in beyond the strikers. That's not what he does. That's not what this role is for, but it is for supporting those front men as much as possible, particularly if the opposition are kind of crowding out those areas. So we've got it on balance. Support on crosses is on getting to the box for the cross, and then his pushing freedom is free roam. Does a great job of picking up lots of pockets of space, particularly merging with the likes of Messi, as we'll talk about shortly, with a lot of fluidity of movement within those ranks. You're going to find them both picking up pockets of space, and it's going to enable you to progress the ball further and keep those attacking kind of situations going on. And the defense position is cover wing. So on to the bit you've all been waiting for, this front three. How does it work? Well, first things first, with Neymar, we have his support runs on drift wide, as he'll look to kind of not only pick at the half spaces, but also sometimes support the winger as well. Looks to pick at the ball, get himself into kind of areas of space. And his attacking runs are on mixed, because it's going to allow you, sometimes he's going to run in behind and utilise his pace, but oftentimes he's also going to kind of move around a bit, pick up pockets of space and show for the ball, and that's really what it does a great job of doing. His defense support also is basic, obviously not constantly tracking back, but he does occasionally. He does occasionally in this Galtier system. With Messi on the other side, very, very different. His support runs are stay central. You don't want him getting dragged out towards the touchline. Instead, he kind of pulls the strings from more of the central areas of the pitch. His attacking runs are on false 9, allowing you to drop into those pockets of space. Again, picking up the ball from deep and driving and going from there. Again, allowing you to kind of play those kind of defense splitting passes as well. And defensive support is stay forward, as we know. Doesn't do much tracking back. He is Lionel Messi. And then finally, with Mbappe up front, support runs drift wide, again looking to utilise his pace but also his movement to move into the channels, creating that fluidity of movement that we've already mentioned. These front three, constantly chasing around a lot, and so it's a nightmare to man mark them. One of the reasons why they're having so much success. Attacking runs is naturally on getting behind, utilising that pace, and then defence support as well is stay forward. You're really kind of getting this back seven and then the front three split like that. One little tweak, depending on if you've got Mbappe or Ekitike up front, who has occasionally played there, particularly in recent weeks. This time, rather than drift wide, you just have him on stay central, because he doesn't really do much kind of drifting out either side. He kind of acts as that focal point in the central areas. It does change it up a little bit, obviously not as fun to play with in FIFA, but just something you might want to bear in mind if you're looking to kind of rotate him in. So with that being said, we're just about ready to round it off there. If you've got any questions about the system, don't hesitate to get them in the comment section and let me know, and I'll do my best to get all of your questions answered. If you want to see how this tactic ranks compared to all of the others, make sure to check out my Patreon, because you can find my FIFA 23 tactics package on there, as well as a whole host of other fantastic perks and rewards like exclusive tactics videos and Discord server access and Fantasy Football League access and early access to videos and behind the scenes videos and a whole lot more. Don't forget to check out the subreddit for FIFA Tactics if you want to share and come along and be with like-minded people, enthusiasts for tactics and FIFA. So do go and check that out. And also, obviously, have a look at my gaming podcast. The links to that will be in the description, as well as the link to my Twitter as well. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell to get notifications every time I upload, and drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it and want to see more. With that being said, we're going to go into some gameplay now so you can see firsthand what it's like to play with this front three and just dominate everyone by not doing a whole lot. And with that being said, until the next one, I'll see you soon.
le numéro